Hey everybody, my name is Jamey Schrier, and are you looking to sell your practice in the next 1, 2, 3, even 5 years? Or maybe you're just looking to ease yourself out of the day-to-day and create something that is profitable without you grinding? Well, either way, you're in the right place, because what I'm going to talk about today is how to position your practice to sell for the optimal amount of money and do it on your terms. That's right. It's not just about selling for the optimal money, it's make sure you have the right terms. So we're going to go through all of that today. So here's the thing. I owned a physical therapy practice for over 15 years. And I went through all kinds of different struggles, all kinds of challenges, but I was able to create a business that I didn't have to be in there day in and day out. I created systems and processes and a team. And eventually I was like, this is great, but I want to do something else. I want to do some coaching. I love this. So I understand what it takes to sell your practice. And since I moved with coaching other private practice owners, I've been doing it now since we're recording this for 12 years, over 12 years. I've worked with hundreds of practice owners, and I've helped so many of them position their business to sell. I'm going to give you the exact things you can do to start positioning your business right now. This isn't theory. This isn't fluff. I didn't read this stuff in a book and now I'm sharing it. This is my own experience. And this is the experience of some of the most amazing, successful practice owners of all different types of industries, whether it's physical therapy, occupational therapy with pediatrics, speech and language, nutrition, mental health, all those types of industries. That's what we're going to really focus on here. So buckle up. We're going to go through a lot of great stuff today, and you're going to benefit so much. So the way we're going to do it today is I'm going to kind of position it into questions to make it easier for you to follow. So let's start with the first question. What's the biggest mistake that practice owners make when they're trying to build and grow their business to eventually sell? And the number one answer is, and I just got this from doing a panel with some amazing business owners, it's poor financials. Nothing says I don't know what I'm doing than showing a potential buyer financials that are all over the place. Things are, there's gaps in what you're tracking. The P&L statement, profit and loss statement is all over the place. Doesn't look like it's being tracked and organized properly. If you don't have good financials, first of all, you're not really going to be able to know what your practice is truly worth. Second of all, they're going to spend a lot of time and energy having to get that organized for you. And that's not going to bode well for you. So the key is make sure that you're really organizing your financials. This is not something you want to do on your own. You're not a financial whiz. You're not a bookkeeper. Outsource this. Find someone who can help organize this. I hate when I'm talking with a business owner and I'm like, well, let me see what you have there. Let me see kind of where you are. They're like, I don't know. I haven't really filled it in the last couple months, and it's kind of all over the place. I don't even know if the numbers are accurate. Come on now. So that's the biggest mistake. All right. What do buyers value most? Now, this is interesting. I've spoken to a lot of buyers, whether it's a private equity buyer, whether it's a strategic buyer, and what they are looking for primarily is EBITDA, right? Earnings, let me get this right, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. What that really means to you and me in layman's term is profit. So what matters is profitability. How much revenue you make, for the most part, doesn't matter too much. I mean, once you get into the millions, if you're at 2 million or 3 million or 4 million, if your profit margin is under 5%, you're not going to get anything for the amount of work that you did to build that. And what's interesting with people like us, and I include myself, because I'm a physical therapist for over 25 plus years and private practice and everything else, we don't really attend to attract to money, right? That's not like our primary purpose of why we got in this. So what we do is the opposite. We don't really know what our profit margins. We do what My friend Mike Michalowicz said, bank balance accounting. We just look in the bank account. If there's money, we're in a good mood. If there's not, we're in a crappy mood. That is not how you build your business. And that is certainly not how you want to position your business to when you sell it. Next question here. How far in advance should you, an owner, start to preparing to sell? Well, the easy answer is right away. Right away, you should start preparing to sell. But let me give you a different answer. At least 1 to 2 years in advance, all the way up to maybe 5 years in advance, depending on what you're trying to sell it for, how your position is, how your business is positioned right now. Why does this matter? Because by the time you make a decision, let's say, you've had a bad year and you're just like, oh, I'm exhausted. That's enough of this junk already. I'm going to go sell. So then you hire a broker and they're going to help you evaluate the company and put your little package together and then get some people in front of you. By the time you do that with the broker, your business, they're going to try to get whatever they can from it, but whatever it is, right? So there's no time to increase the pie, so to speak. They're just trying to get as much of it for you. But if it's not positioned correctly, if there's not solid organization in it and financials and things like that, they're not going to be able to do much for you. So having more of a runway, making sure that you have time to actually implement the things you want to implement, that's why it's so important to be thinking in the future, well, when would I want to sell this? Even if you decide to keep it. That's the beautiful part. The beautiful part is you don't have to sell it. Sometimes you want to keep it. So when I created my practice, I wanted my practice, after going through an absolute crap show, I wanted my practice to be able to run without me there every single day, without me in patient care, dealing with phones and all that. I just wanted to manage my team, support my team, and do my growth strategy stuff. So once I did that, you know what? I hung on to it for a few years. I was like, this is great. And then eventually I did decide to sell it, but I sold it on my terms. That's the secret. You want to position your business to sell on your terms, not somebody else's. What about financial red flags? What's a financial red flag? This is something I learned from some of my mental health folks, so my psychologists out there. And a lot of times in those psychology group practices, they kind of fluctuate between, should I have W-2s or should I have 1099 contractor? And here's the problem. As a business owner, you're like, well, sometimes 1099s are better because I just pay them for the hour that they work and treat, and I don't have to pay them if I don't, and I don't have to really give them benefits. Well, here's the problem with that. Depending on how you're using them, that could be a little bit flirting on the illegal world, right? Because a true contractor kind of comes and goes when they please. If you're kind of directing when they work and all that, are they a true contractor? I don't know. So if someone's looking to buy you, they might question that. They might say, well, these contractors, we're putting ourselves at a little bit of risk. We may not be in compliance. So they might ding against you that and say, well, we're going to have to move these people over to W-2s. They may not want to move over to W-2s, which means they're taking a risk to buy your business, which means they're either not going to buy it or they're going to give you significantly less money for that risk. Is that making sense? So that's a big red flag. What can an owner do right now to make the practice less dependent on them? If you can't tell by now, it's really about getting yourself out of the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day delivery of care. Why is that so important? Because when an owner actually has systems in place and has people in place, that business is more attractive because it's more secure. It's less risky for that person that's buying you. When the owner's in the midst of everything and doing everything, I'm going to have to not only buy the company, I'm going to have to make sure I buy that owner. That owner's going to have to work for me for the next 5 to 6 years. Now, heck, maybe you do want to do that, but they're going to have to pay you a good salary to do it. And guess what? That's going to come out of the money that you would normally make because they're going to have to pay you. So the idea is to have a true business, a real business. You don't want to be doing the work of somebody that you could delegate a particular activity or task to. One of my good friends and coaches at Practice Freedom U, Lindsay Keisman, said, do a time audit. I love the idea of a time audit. A time audit is track down for the next week or even 2 weeks. She recommends do it for 30 days, but you can start doing it less. Just everything you do. I remember doing this. I took a course for Michael Gerber. Michael Gerber wrote the E-Myth, one of like the old dogs out there, the entrepreneurial myth. And I took that course, and the first thing they had me do is write down every single thing I did. I mean everything. If I went to the bathroom, I went to the bathroom for 3 minutes or whatever. If I did patient care, if I answered the phone, if I jumped on a call, if I went to a doctor's office. So what that does is allow you to see clearly where your time is going. And then once you do that, you can start choosing, well, what can I remove from my plate? And that's a whole nother conversation of how to actually do all of that. But that's a great place to really get some perspective around where you are. If you don't already have one, create an organizational chart. This is a simple chart, little diagrams of, CEO, your name would be there. Do you have any directors? Do you have any marketing people? Do you have an office manager? Obviously your therapist in there, maybe a billing person. This is an organization of the different people in your practice. Not only the people that you currently have, but the people that you actually should have at some point. Here's the interesting part to this. You're going to find, depending on the size of your business, that your name is covering a lot of these roles in your business. The idea is to start removing your name from any role that doesn't say owner, CEO, right? Relationship builder, strategic planner. So those are a couple things you can do right now that can help you start getting yourself out of some of the day-to-day. So what should you do next? I know I'm biased here, but I've done this for a long time. It's hard to prepare and position your practice to sell it one day for lots of money on your terms and big multiples on your own. Find yourself a coach. Find yourself someone that can help you figure out what it is you want and then determine how to get there and then help you get there. I can't tell you how important this is. With the owners I was just on a panel with, all of them said the same thing. Coach, coach, coach. Not all of them had a coach. The one that talked about not having a coach, she regretted it the most because she was like, I know I could have gotten so much more money. And she had to stay on for 3 years. Can you imagine staying on for 3 years after being an owner for 10 or 20 years and now you're an employee? Oh man, don't put yourself in that position. One of the things that I want to provide you right now is something called an exit strategy call. So this is something that we do at our company. This is no charge. We meet with an owner and talk about what is it that you're looking for. We can even do a light estimate, not a full valuation, but a light estimate of where your practice is valued right now or what it could be valued, and then look at some of the areas that you can fix to position your business to sell at a high margin. And if it does make sense, of course, then we have options where we could potentially work together. Again, this is not a high sales, high pressure type of call. It's something to give you some perspective of what's possible in your business. There you have it. There's some great tips and advice of how to position your practice. And this is what I do. I provide these things. So be on the lookout for the next video that's going to help you with practice growth. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can just automatically get notified of great stuff. I tackle all things private practice. I'm a private practice guy. That's what I tackle, and that's what I'm here to help you with. So until next time, have a great day.